A Quiet Place was not only one of the best monster post-apocalyptic horror movies of the past decade, it is a great alien movie. Now, John Krasinski does have his own backstory prepared for what are now being called the Death Angels. No idea where the name came from. I just found it on the wiki fandom and I'm going with it. The Death Angels are extraterrestrials who invade Earth. However, rather than a hostile takeover by a superior intelligence, this is more of an infestation of a parasitic or predatory variety, a species who interacts only through sound. I'm Abby, this is Pop Culture Science, A Quiet Place, Alien Evolution. When it comes to the aliens featured in this movie series, the main question is, where did they come from? The most obvious evolutionary feature of these so-called Death Angels is that they do not have eyes. Now, on Earth, the majority of animals have eyes. This is simply because in an environment where light is available, eyes provide a significant survival advantage. They allow animals to navigate, to find food, to avoid predators, but this doesn't mean that all animals have eyes, because in some deep-sea habitats or some caves or even inside hosts, places where there is no light, life will rely on senses like touch, chemical detection, vibration sensitivity, and of course, sound. Now, the evolution of eyes likely started with simple light-sensitive cells, and over time they would then become more complex, and depending on the location, the eyes would evolve in very specific ways. So some examples are things like unicellular and simple multicellular organisms. These have simple basic eye spots that allow them to detect when light is present and when it's absent. Insects and crustaceans, then, they have eyes that have many small lenses. These are called compound eyes, and it gives them a wide field of view and an increased sensitivity to movement. And then we have animals like us, vertebrates and some invertebrates. We have camera-type eyes, so single lenses that focus light onto a retina. This gives us depth perception and detailed images. Now, this stuff is important in understanding where these aliens might come from, because there is a large variation in eyes across species on Earth. You see, many different species evolved eyes in different ways, and what this tells us is that in the presence of light, it is an evolutionary advantage to develop eyes. Now, as I said, there are some animals on Earth that do not have eyes, but these are simple organisms such as sea sponges or parasitic animals like tapeworms, and even cave-dwelling animals such as cavefish. But large, complex living organisms thrive on our planet because of many reasons, but one being the evolutionary advantage of having eyes. So if you take that and think of it in terms of our universe then, on any habitable planet that we find orbiting a star where life may have evolved, we can reasonably assume that they will have developed eyes of some sort. Remember, 65,000 different types of vertebrates evolved on this one planet all have eyes, as well as 1 million different types of insects. Now, while we cannot know in what other conditions life may have evolved in the universe, and we cannot say for certain that this would be the case, it's a very reasonable hypothesis. So for an alien species to not develop eyes, they must have evolved in the absence of light. Now, Krasinski has described the aliens' origin as being a lightless planet in a faraway galaxy, a hell world with harsher conditions and higher gravity than Earth. We know that the Death Angels can't swim, and so it's not that they evolved in the depths of the ocean on some planet orbiting a star such as ours. It's possible that they evolved in caves, however it seems unlikely that they would then develop such a predatory nature on a planet with light present. And of course, they don't exist inside a host, so it's not that they're parasites. Now, they could still potentially develop on a world that is orbiting a star, but is far enough away that the light is minimal or that the world is not habitable on the surface, but consists of many caves and caverns where life evolved in the dark. I don't like these ideas. So my suggestion for this is that they come from a rogue planet, one that was wandering the interstellar space near our solar system. You see, rogue planets are planets that have either formed from some material outside of a planetary system, or they were originally part of a system but were then ejected. Now, these are starless planets, free-floating throughout our galaxy. Now, as of last year, we discovered about 70 of these planets, and we expect that there are millions, if not billions of them within the galaxy alone. Now, so far the ones that we've found appear to be gas giants, but it is possible for rocky terrestrial planets formed around a star to be ejected from their solar system and then become rogue planets. And a planet like this could, in fact, support life. Now, exactly what the limits of that life would be, I can't say. Potentially, it wouldn't grow to as large a size as we are or the aliens in the movie, but the important information is in understanding that sunlight may not be necessary for extraterrestrial life. So a planet without light can still have internal heat. It can have an atmosphere, it can have chemical sources, water, and overall create the necessary conditions for biological life to exist. So instead of energy from the sun, energy on a planet like this could come from chemical reactions, or the internal heat could provide geothermal energy to drive biochemical processes. Some microorganisms can even use radiation from radioactive decay as an energy source. That's the entire premise behind Godzilla. Whatever the process they would use, they would likely maximize their energy absorption, resulting in unique physical structures. So without light, an organism would evolve to sense their surroundings using different methods, such as changes in pressure, movement, vibrations, and of course, sound waves. Now, we don't know how these death angels assess their surroundings. They don't appear to send out signals, not that I remember, so they're not using echolocation or sound reflections to create sonar maps in order to assess the surroundings. So unless they're using a frequency that we can't hear, they seem mostly to use passive listening and maybe some vibration sensing. So if they're used to their natural environment where they can place all sounds into context, maybe suddenly being on Earth is too jarring, and so they're in fight or flight mode. But why are they on Earth? Now, the aliens themselves are not highly intelligent invaders. They are predatory animals that hunt in packs. They didn't build spaceships to travel here and take over the world. Krasinski has said that they originate from a faraway galaxy and that some explosion on their planet sent them out across intergalactic space and into our solar system. I don't like this. It's his movie. It can be whatever he wants it to be. Let's be clear. Remember, I don't need my sci-fi to be accurate. I just like when they put some clever thought into it. It doesn't have to be a likely event, but something a bit more believable where we could say, you never know, feels better to me personally. And a random explosion on a faraway galaxy is just too kind of first day of sci-fi explanation. Like, I'm not trying to be mean. So I've created a backstory for them. Let me know what you think of it, or if you have any suggestions. Maybe we could get the fandom wiki updated with my non-canon version. Okay, so my science consultation that John Krasinski never asked for is that they originated on a large terrestrial rogue planet near our solar system. I propose that their planet was influenced by the gravity of some system. Maybe it entered a region where it was being pulled by different forces, ultimately tearing the planet apart. Some of the aliens took refuge in pockets or caverns that then became meteors that were flung out towards our solar system. These meteors rained down on all the planets in our solar system. Because the aliens evolved in such a hostile environment, they have developed such a strong physical structure that it's able to withstand the passage through the atmosphere. And then whatever chemical processes they use to gain energy either occurs within our atmosphere or they're adaptable in some way, allowing them to survive on our planet. Now, the initial landing on our planet results in a mass panic, not just of the people, but of the alien creatures also, who are suddenly in an unfamiliar environment where they do not know the hierarchy of predator and prey. And the sounds are very unfamiliar. You've got city noises, technology, people. They're responding on survival instinct only. Now, normally not having eyes would be a disadvantage on this planet, but of course, they don't know that. Now, since they're predators with a highly evolved sense of hearing, they're able to track and react faster using sound than they would using sight. And as our gravity is weaker, they're able to move quicker and jump higher than on their home planet, giving them an overall advantage in speed and tracking. Personally, I would take a monster with eyes over a monster with super hearing any freaking day. So that's my answer to where the aliens came from. Now, there are a few points that need to be tweaked, of course, like what exactly caused the planet to be torn apart, but potentially it passed through the Centauri three-body star system. How did the aliens survive on their meteors? And what is the chemical process they use that allows them to be adaptable to our planet? So I haven't completely scienced it, but I feel like I'm close. But what do you guys think? Are you on board with my idea, or do you have something to suggest yourself? Also, thanks for watching, and follow me if you want more science, sci-fi, nerdy content, stuff like this. Cool. Toodles.